without having to manufacture these emotions. They arise organically. It becomes an implicit knowledge and an organic learned rhythm and pattern within you. So, upcoming, we have the Breathe Feel Dream Posse happening. So let's do some of the settings here and see if I can share some slides. Yeah. Breathe Feel Dream Posse, it's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. So I just wanted to talk about, I'm coming up here to talk about some of the different things that we're doing in the posse. And this morning, I've just had a lot of somatics practices. So I was doing some energy healing for myself and doing some ecstatic dance and movement at the same time to really shuffle down and do that. And then I slided into a little bit of breathing meditation. So both of those things are indeed embodiment based practices, anything that has to do with the feels. And if you haven't noticed, Breathe Feel Dream Posse over here. The feels is a big part of that. So that's feeling the heart, feeling the emotional body, but it's also feeling the body, embodiment. And many of you know I have a somatics background. So stick around. We're going to unpack this element of the Breathe Feel Dream Posse right now. See you in a minute. What? So that might have been less than a minute. I don't know. So let me talk about a little bit what that's like. You've already heard me speak about Bessel van der Kolk, where the body keeps the score, in another one of these sessions here. So let's talk about this element, this significant skill and element that is part of the Breathe Feel Dream Posse that starts on the 16th of October, 2022, by the way. Ooh, let me see if I can move that. I don't know if you saw that. So it's said by memory researchers that if you're learning something, if you can move at the same time, whether that's walking or working out, having some other synapses fire in the brain while it's learning, that the learning, the integration of that wisdom, that information, those insights happens a little bit more efficiently. It sinks in a little bit more deeply, and you can retain that knowledge a little bit more quickly. So when you're learning something, it goes from an explicit unknown state to something that's explicit and then known. That means you have an insight. Oh my God, this. Then you begin the integration process of implicit known. And then to automatic pilot this implicit unknown state where it just becomes second nature. So that's what we're doing in Breathe Feel Dream Posse. We're cultivating these feeling states through a bunch of different techniques. And then we're moving it through our body, trying on these feeling states so that they then become implicit knowledge, implicit second nature. We're doing this without having to manufacture these emotions. They arise organically. It becomes an implicit knowledge and an organic learned rhythm and pattern within you. So at the beginning of Breathe Feel Dream Posse, within weeks 1, 2, and 3, we're moving into these states by intention. So in week 1, we're already beginning these meditation processes, focusing on divine abodes of the heart, these large emotional states, these large feels. And we're feeling into these different qualities of heart. So if you've done other meditation practices with me, then you know that these divine qualities of heart are something that are to be cultivated and infused throughout your entire life. We use these practices of cultivating kindness of heart, sympathetic joy and delight in the heart, compassion in the heart, and this calm peacefulness in the heart. So these are a couple of different states that we cultivate. So in week 1, we're using these practices to cultivate these states and qualities of heart as a way to prime the pump, prime the pump of feelings in the heart, so that we can move on and really articulate in a more specific way the desired feels, things we desire to feel in our life, so that once we can integrate these desired feels, we can then begin to map how this might look on and feel through and look through the rest of our life. Week 1, we just start with really looking into how we feel. What can we cultivate as a desired feel by using some examples? The basic feels of kindness, warmth of the heart, peacefulness, delight, and compassion when the challenging things come up. And also in week 1 and 2, we take these qualities into an ecstatic dance process where we try them on and we feel through. What does this feel like as I move my arm, my hands, my entire body? What is this? What does this feel like? This morning, as I was moving through this stuff, it was very subtle. I was moving with rhythm and I was moving subtly through this healing process. And I was looking at freedom and I was looking at peace. And it wasn't this big expressive movement, it was more movement meditation. When we were doing the glamping reset, so a few of you joined me on the glamping reset. So I had this experience. We were working on really diving into these different areas of our life and how we wanted to feel in each area. Now, the next time I have one of these posts, I'm going to move into desire mapping. So these things that I'm just offering here, this process that I'm offering, that I'm talking about, that's a part of the desire mapping process set out by Danielle Laporte. We'll talk about that next week. I just wanted to share that as I was moving through and journaling and writing out and sharing with everybody that was glamping with me, I came upon this word, oceanic. And then everybody went their separate ways and did their private practice of moving through whatever word they had chosen. I decided to do some yoga and some movement meditation with, and it was amazing. It started out kind of clunky, I confess. It started out kind of clunky. So what happened was I moved into oceanic. And then I began to see, as the minutes ticked on, how deep was also within oceanic. And then I explored that quality of oceanic. And I think at this point, I was standing up and my hands came above my head. And then I reached towards the ground and I felt this quality of deep and depth through my body. And I went on word by word and I noticed that all of these words came under this large umbrella of oceanic. And I tried on these different words that brought up these qualities of heart for me. And I had so many insights, so many insights. And I learned something about myself. I moved a little bit more deeply. So I'm sharing this experience with you because this is the kind of stuff we're going to be doing all throughout the 9 weeks of the posse, Breathe Feel Dream Posse, but definitely in the first 3 weeks, we're going to breathe and we're going to feel and we're going to try on somatically through movement meditation, through ecstatic dance, and through stillness meditation, trying on and breathing through the different qualities. I wanted to say a little bit more about ecstatic dance. So, ecstatic dance is a form of dance in which the dancers, sometimes without the need to follow specific steps, abandon themselves to the rhythm and move freely as the music takes them, leading into trance states and feelings of ecstasis and ecstasy. The effects of ecstatic dance begin with ecstasy itself, which may be experienced in differing degrees. Dancers are described as feeling connected to others and to have their own emotions flow. The dance serves as a form of meditation, helping people on a very basic level to cope with stress and to attain peace and serenity. Whereas moving meditation is a meditative state, a shift of consciousness while doing simple movements. It is a way of calming the mind and creating awareness. Meditation is typically associated with stillness, lying or sitting in a comfortable posture with the focus on the breath. So you'll see we'll combine these different things. And you can see that as I use these descriptive written words, very pithy, as I was describing some of my exploration with the word oceanic as a way that I wanted to feel, you can see how I embodied in those different ways everything that was just described. So this is part of the project of Reset 2022. So those are some of the ways that we explore movement and why we explore it. So it's one thing to talk about these things. It's quite another thing to have an experience of them. So come join us in the Breathe Feel Dream Posse. The links are above. And we'll move into these different sensations. We'll move into these different experiences of ourselves, who we believe we want to be, and then who we actually want to be, who we actually are. We begin to discover that it's this excavation process deep within our bodies of how we want to be, how we want to exist, how we already are, that's aching and calling us to express, to embody and express and ripple out to the world. This is a core basic process that we move through in the Reset 22 with Love Evolve Energy, the Breathe Feel Dream process This is one of the core things we'll be experiencing from day one. And yes, if this is new to you, not to worry. We'll take it slowly, moving in bit by bit, week by week. And really, by week 4, you'll know what this is for you. You'll have this as a pattern and a habit for healing deep into your core and then expressing it from that core outward, not just through the ecstatic dance, the movement meditation and the meditations on the heart, all embodiment practices, all somatic practices. But you'll begin to see by week 4 and definitely by week 5 how these things ripple out into your life. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining us in the posse, and I'll see you there on our start date, October 16th. Mwah.